Senator John Fetterman is catching heat outside of just his sweatpants swag lately, because now he's actually looking to do something for kids in school. Maybe opportunities are abound. And that would be in eliminating school lunch debt. He's looking to cancel it all. So, of course, Republican heads are spinning over this because, as we know, they hate children eating. Let's go straight into this and some of the things that that Fetterman has been saying as he pushed this legislation. He says school lunch debt is a term so absurd that it shouldn't even exist. That's what he said in the press release. That's why I'm proud to introduce this bill to cancel the nation's student meal debt and to stop humiliating kids and penalizing hunger. So to give some more credit as well, Fetterman also took this on with Senators Sheldon, Whitehouse, and Peter Welch. So they're on board as well. I mean, sounds like we're giving Fetterman the hero status all day today, but he was part of the leading parts of this. Let's continue with what he was saying. He says it's time to come together and stop playing political games with Americans' access to food. September is Hunger Action Month, and I'm proud to be introducing this bill to help working families now while we work to move our other priorities to combat food insecurity in our nation, is what he then went on to say. So how do people end up with school lunch debt? It's pretty straightforward. Even schools that don't offer these free meals usually won't turn away hungry students. Instead, they'll feed them and collect their payment later. And that leads to the school lunch debt. You got a tab now, bro. And of course, this bill is meant to ease the financial burden on working families by directing the USDA to pay for all debts owed to schools for lunch or breakfast programs. So in case people are thinking that should these school districts just take on this kind of debt themselves because look, it's going to destroy them just like the auto industries, the USDA is the one to be paying for it. And this is an offshoot of what happened during 2020 in the pandemic when they did offer school lunch and many of these things, and it was federally supported, and many states started taking it on as well too later. But there's still some Republicans that hate the entire idea, and I really want you guys to see. It's a bit of a video from A More Perfect Union and how these Republicans and these state legislators talk about the issue of child hunger in school, and see if you think they give a damn about their constituents. Watch.
Hunger is a relative term, Mr. President. You know, I had a cereal bar for breakfast. I guess I'm hungry now.
Yes, I can understand kids going hungry, but is that really the problem of the school district? Is that the problem of the state of North Dakota?
I'm still a no vote on this because this is again a personal responsibility issue and not a starvation issue.
Is hunger really a problem of the state? Do we really give a damn? Yo, the money that comes in from the state just it litters from the sky. It falls from trees. So we collected all that. All you peons who actually want something for what you paid us can shut the F up. That's what they're saying directly to your faces. Then they say, vote for me in the fall. Now, this is what they don't know, Ray. There are over 30 million children in the US who can't afford their school meals, which contributes to the national public school meal debt totaling a staggering $262 million in a year. In Pennsylvania alone, there are nearly 500,000 food insecure children who collectively owe nearly $80 million in debt. And meanwhile, child poverty in the United States more than doubled last year, with the average household income declined. How all that happens is based off of policies or lack thereof, or any regulations or anything to help people. Again, we talk about being able to feed their families, and this is literally on the table. And when they see it, they go, I don't care. That's what this is designed to do, to screw you over. Thoughts?
What really struck me was the woman at the end of that More Perfect Union video who said it's a personal responsibility issue for children, for kids, for elementary schoolers, for middle schoolers, for high schoolers. That's an absurd. You're enforcing, personal responsibility on the parents and then watching the kids suffer on their behalf. It's an absurd. No, I don't really buy into the personal responsibility argument, but even for people who do, that is an absurd notion that we should let children starve because of their parents' personal, financial failings, which I don't think is their personal financial failings, but they would make that argument. And just, when you have student like lunch debt, they're supposed to give you a meal, but oftentimes they'll take away the hot food that you've gotten in the lunch line and then give you like an apple and a juice. It is not an actual meal, so kids will just not eat. They just won't get the free lunch, as it were, and let the debt rack up. They just won't eat. They'll just go hungry that day, and then they won't be able to do as well in school because they're hungry. And if students have student lunch debt, they're not able to walk at graduation. Some schools won't even give them their diplomas. They're not able to participate in like field trips and activities like that. And they were not allowed to participate in sports. So they're literally ruining these kids' lives because they're hungry and they want to eat lunch. Comically evil example. And I had lunch debt and it sucked, but my best friend, it was her birthday and we were going through we were in high school, we were going through the lunch line and the screen was flashing happy birthday. But she had lunch debt. So the lunch lady took the lunch out of her hands while the screen was flashing happy birthday. I mean, it is an evil system. And the reason these Republicans look so, again, comically evil while they're supporting this position is because that's exactly what it is. It is an evil position that you think kids should go hungry.
It's predatory. So you can't get in that scenario, you can't get a happy birthday message because your birthday doesn't exist anymore. You should be punished. You should not have any celebration. All this is because of school lunch debt. Because what's the mindset? Do you think, again, third grader goes into school and says, you know what? This $100, although it's burning a hole in my pocket, not gonna spend it. Nah, mom gave me $100 every day for this food. I can't believe that they want me to actually spend it on this. I'm gonna go out and buy some drugs. What is it you think kids who don't have the means to get food are actually doing? And do you think they're rubbing their hands and well, I can't wait to go steal some of this disgusting food from my lunchroom? Because the majority of people actually don't like school lunch. It's like a normal thing that you'll see get talked about. It's supposed to be a common thought process, and maybe some schools have better lunches, but this is the stuff they're racking up debts for. Ray, I did not know that there was kids that weren't allowed to graduate and all this based off of this. And it's criminalizing their hunger, as Fetterman was talking about, and starts from the very beginning. So from this point on, anything that they don't have or they're short on, it becomes almost a criminal thing. They're racking up debt before the age of 10 over food that we throw out every day. Because again, as I said earlier, America, land of the free, opportunity. These are the opportunities that we start with. When there's an unequal playing ground when it comes to education, we know that the next parts of your life, that then you get a job, maybe own a home, all those are derailed when you don't get the right approach in school. And when you're hungry, you can't concentrate. The body works a certain way. It's better to just ignore science and reality and talk about how horrible these children are instead. Two more things that Fetterman's also doing as far as food insecurity that's outside of schools that I think is also worth noting. Let's go to graphic 7 here, you guys, as we have a minute left. In June, he was one of 4 Democrats to vote against the debt limit bill because it included restrictions to SNAP benefits, formerly known as food stamps. So they're trying to cut that down as well too, because someone getting $250 a month for food, that's a devastating effect on our economy. Not the people stuffing $480,000 in their wallet, in their pockets in the middle of closets. That's not a problem at all. Lastly, he introduced legislation to provide free lunch, breakfast, lunch, and dinner to every student. And in July, he introduced a bill that would make striking workers eligible for SNAP benefits. And under current federal law, workers on strike have to have qualified for SNAP before going on strike. So again, protections for striking workers, because we can't give them any opportunities and benefits either, because they just might push and make these corporations pay them or maybe up their standards. All these things. Think about every time they say to you, vote for me, ask them, what did you do for me? What votes did you have for me? Ask yourself the question and you probably won't vote for them anymore.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.